Outside Nigeria now, let's turn our attention to Mozambique, where Islamist militant ambushed a convoy that was trying to rescue civilians from a hotel amid fighting in the northern part of the country. A South African man has been confirmed dead, but many details are unclear. Hundreds of people fled the fighting, which began on Wednesday in the town of Palma. Evacuees included foreign gas workers. Northern Mozambique has been torn apart by an insurgency since 2017. Militants linked to the Islamic State group are behind the conflict in the predominantly Muslim region of Cabo Delgado. The fighting has left more than 2,500 people dead and 700,000 others displaced. Joining me now to speak about this is an African affairs analyst, Amoda Musibodi. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 7. Well, this is such a brutal insurgency being waged in Mozambique, and a whole lot is at stake. What is the reaction to development in that country?
Well, I think one must look at the reaction of government, or what the expectations of government in this regard will be vis-a-vis what any government in any country that is faced with this kind of situation should be. Now, don't forget that we cannot prefer what the solutions would be for government without looking at what the problems were. Now, this particular region, particularly the northern province in Mozambique, is one that has been riddled with several instances of inequality, infrastructural deficit, and a whole lot more. So the argument across boards has always been that there's a need for government to tackle issues of unemployment, tackle issues of inequality that is quite visible within that region, tackle some other cases, because we also know that beyond beyond unemployment, which is a major one, the government also needs to take seriously issues of religious fanaticism, because without taking that seriously, and of course, because it failed to take that seriously, that is why we are where we are at the moment as regards what is happening in northern Mozambique. So government needs to take that seriously, and of course, there is also a need for collaboration of those southern African countries and of course East African countries, because don't forget that this particular region borders with Tanzania, and so it means that there could be a spillover from this region to Tanzania. In fact, there are claims that Al-Shabaab militants from Tanzania are actually gaining entrance into this area. And Mozambique that we're talking about is also quite porous, with a 2,000 kilometers stretch of coastline that is not well secured. It's actually quite porous, and the redounding effect of that on the region, both the Southern African region and the East African region, will be quite monumental. So there's a need to have a collaboration of all these different regions together with the Mozambican government to be able to tame this, this evil that they are faced with at the moment.
Indeed, I was coming to that place of collaboration, because each of those countries have something they're battling on their own shores. So how exactly do they intervene? How do they put resources together to be able to tackle this headlong?
Well, it's a kind of brotherhood of the oppressed, or brotherhood of, the victimized, if we may call that. Apologies to, Singer. But then the point is, if you look at Tanzania, Tanzania has its own evils, its devils that it's facing with Al-Shabaab. Of course, we also know that other countries around that region, Uganda is not left out. So if care is not taken, because Mozambique seems to be in the eye of the storm now, and the way it is going, the militants and of course the insurgents are gaining grounds with every passing day. So there's a need for them to have this collaboration. If that collaboration works out and they are able to, squeeze and fizzle them out of Mozambique, we know for sure that the next port will be Tanzania, and it will also be easier to also, have such collaboration. And I must also say that the AU also has to be strongly involved here, because there's that strong need for collaboration. Now, if you look at what is happening in the Middle East, for an example, you will see how failure to tackle cases of insecurity in one country splits. We have had a spiral effect of it in other countries, and now it has become a daredevil that the region is faced with. So we have to be proactive. All these countries, in spite of their own pockets of insecurity challenges that they have, they also have to, bring about the collaboration with the AU and then begin to face them head on. Now we're done with Mozambique. Now, when we know we're done with Mozambique, we can go to Tanzania and say, okay, now let's deal with Tanzania. And then while doing this, we also ensure that those countries ensure that they don't also leave their borders for us, and they do the needful so that the cases they have or instances they have of insecurity and of course terrorist attacks does not blow out of proportion.
All right, Mr. Musugodi, as it is now, 700 people, more than that, 700,000 people actually have fled their homes, and the UNHCR projects that number could rise up to 1 million by the middle of this year. That's really frightening statistics. Thank you very much for joining us on TVC News at 7.
You're most welcome.